Lisa Martinez stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror and wondered what she had gotten herself into. Her friend Kate had been pestering her for months about this blind date, but Kate had left out one tiny detail. The guy was an alien, not just any alien either. Commander Zektar of the Valorian Defense Fleet stood 7 feet tall with blue skin that looked like it had been through a few wars. His forearms moved in ways that made Lisa dizzy just watching, and the scars on his face told stories she probably didn't want to hear. "Mom, you look nervous," said Amy, her 16-year-old daughter, poking her head into the bathroom. Amy had always been the smart one, building computers from spare parts since she was 12. "Are you sure about this date thing?" "I'm not sure about anything anymore," Lisa admitted, adjusting her simple black dress for the 3rd time. "But Kate says he's nice, and it's been 2 years since your dad died. Maybe it's time." Chloe, her 14-year-old, appeared beside Amy. Where Amy was all brains and gadgets, Chloe was pure energy and attitude. She had been taking karate classes since she was 8 and could probably kick Lisa's butt if she wanted to. "He's an alien, Mom," Chloe said, stating the obvious. "What if he tries to probe you or something?" "That's a ridiculous stereotype," Amy said, rolling her eyes. "The Valorians are a warrior race. They're more likely to challenge her to single combat than perform medical experiments." "That's not helping," Lisa said, grabbing her purse. "Look, I'll be at Tony's Italian Bistro. It's public, it's safe, and I'll text you every hour. You two stay here, order pizza, and try not to burn down the house." "We never burn down the house," Chloe protested. "The garage doesn't count," Amy added quickly. Lisa gave them both a look that said they were not as clever as they thought they were. "I'll be back by 10. No parties, no experiments, and definitely no spying on me." "We would never spy on you," Amy said with the kind of innocence that made Lisa immediately suspicious. 20 minutes later, Lisa sat in Tony's Italian Bistro checking her phone for the 5th time. She had arrived early, which was a habit left over from her days as an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force. Being on time meant being alive, her old sergeant used to say. The door chimed, and every conversation in the restaurant stopped. Commander Zektar had to duck to get through the doorway, and his military uniform looked like it could stop a tank. His forearms moved independently as he scanned the room, probably looking for threats out of habit. His eyes found Lisa, and she raised her hand in a small wave. He walked over with the kind of precision that suggested he had never taken a casual step in his life. "Lisa Martinez?" His voice was deep and carried an accent she couldn't place. "I am Commander Zektar. Kate indicated you would be my date partner for this evening's tactical nutrition operation." Lisa blinked. "Tactical nutrition operation?" "Dinner," he clarified, looking slightly embarrassed. "I apologize. I'm still learning your customs." "It's okay," Lisa said, standing to shake his hand. "All 4 of them." "Nice to meet you." Zektar sat down carefully and the chair creaked under his weight. He picked up the wine glass the waiter had left and it immediately shattered in his grip. Red wine splashed across the white tablecloth. "Apologies," he said, looking mortified. "Your glassware is more fragile than expected." "No problem," Lisa said, grabbing napkins to clean up the mess. "Happens all the time." It definitely did not happen all the time, but Zektar looked so embarrassed that she felt bad for him. The waiter brought a new glass, and this time Zektar held it like it was made of soap bubbles. "So," Lisa said, trying to start a normal conversation. "Kate tells me you're in the military." "Correct. I command the 47th Assault Division of the Valorian Defense Fleet. We have conquered 12 star systems and defended the Outer Rim against the Krillian threat for the past 6 years. He paused. "Kate suggested I should not discuss my military achievements on a first date, but I am unsure what else to discuss." Lisa found his honesty refreshing. Most human guys she had dated either lied about their jobs or wouldn't shut up about them. "What do you do for fun?" Zektar looked genuinely confused. "Fun? You know, hobbies, things you enjoy, what you do when you're not working." "I study battle tactics and maintain my weapons," he said slowly. "Is this fun?" "Some people might think so," Lisa said diplomatically. "Do you like movies? Music, sports? I have observed human entertainment. Your action movies are educational, though your military tactics are questionable at best." Across the street, Amy was setting up her latest creation, a modified drone with a camera and audio pickup. She had built it from a remote control helicopter, a smartphone, and parts from their old microwave. "I still think this is a bad idea," Chloe said, adjusting the tiny binoculars Amy had given her. "Mom said no spying," Amy replied, but she didn't say anything about conducting surveillance for her safety. "This is totally different." "How is it different?" "Surveillance is more scientific," Amy said, launching the drone from their second-floor window. "And if this alien guy tries anything weird, we'll have evidence." The drone buzzed quietly through the evening air, heading toward Tony's restaurant. Amy controlled it with her phone, watching the video feed as she navigated between buildings. Back in the restaurant, Lisa was actually starting to enjoy herself. Zektar was awkward, sure, but he was also genuinely interested in everything she said. When she told him about her work as a mechanic, he asked detailed questions about human engineering techniques. "Your species' approach to problem-solving is fascinating," he said, carefully cutting his pasta with surgical precision. "Valorian engineering is based on optimal efficiency and proven methods. Humans seem to improvise. Is that bad?" Lisa asked. "Not bad," Zektar said thoughtfully. "Different. We have studied human military history. Your species often wins battles through completely unexpected tactics. It is admirable. Thanks, I think." The conversation was interrupted by a small buzzing sound. Zektar's head snapped up, his military training kicking in. "Do you hear that?" "Hear what?" Lisa asked, though she was starting to hear it too. The buzzing got louder, and other diners started looking around nervously. Zektar stood up, scanning the ceiling, when Amy's drone suddenly burst through the restaurant window in a shower of glass and crashed directly into his plate of spaghetti. Marinara sauce exploded across the table, covering both Lisa and Zektar in red. The drone's propellers were still spinning, flinging pasta in all directions. "What in the seven hells?" Zektar started to say, when the front door of the restaurant burst open. 5 men in black tactical gear stormed in, carrying weapons that definitely weren't legal. The leader pointed his rifle at Zektar and shouted, "Nobody move!" "Terra purists, we're here for the alien." Lisa looked at the crashed drone, the armed terrorists, and her date, who was now reaching for what looked like a plasma weapon under his jacket. She had exactly one thought. Her daughters were going to be so grounded. The Terra purists had clearly planned this operation carefully. They spread out across the restaurant with military precision, covering exits and establishing fields of fire. What they had not planned for was Lisa Martinez. While Zektar reached for his plasma weapon, Lisa grabbed the nearest fire extinguisher from the wall. Years of military training and mechanical work had taught her that the best tool was usually the one within reach. "Down!" she shouted to the other diners who were already diving under tables. The restaurant erupted in screams and chaos. The lead terrorist, a man with angry eyes and too many military patches on his vest, kept his rifle trained on Zektar. "Alien scum! Earth for humans only! I am a diplomatic guest," Zektar said calmly, though his 4 hands were moving to different weapons. "This action violates several interstellar treaties. We don't recognize alien treaties," the leader spat. Lisa had heard enough. She pulled the pin on the fire extinguisher and aimed it straight at the terrorists. White foam exploded from the nozzle, covering the nearest gunman in a thick cloud. He stumbled backward, coughing and trying to clear his vision. Zektar stared at her in amazement. "You just attacked armed enemies with a fire suppression device." "It's not about the weapon," Lisa said, advancing on the next terrorist. "It's about not letting bullies win." Across the street, Chloe watched her mother disappear into a cloud of fire extinguisher foam and made a decision that would have given Lisa a heart attack. "Mom needs help," she announced, grabbing her skateboard. "Wait," Amy called out, but Chloe was already out the door. Amy frantically worked on her phone, trying to regain control of her crashed drone while simultaneously hacking into every system she could think of. Traffic lights, security cameras, emergency services, anything that might help. Back in the restaurant, the situation was getting complicated fast. Lisa had managed to blind 2 of the terrorists, but there were still 3 more, and they were adapting quickly. Zektar had drawn his plasma weapon but seemed reluctant to use it in a room full of innocent humans. That's when Chloe Martinez made her entrance. The 14-year-old burst through the restaurant's back door like a force of nature. She had approached through the alley, using her skateboard to jump from dumpster to fire escape to roof and back down again. Her karate instructor would have been proud of the flying kick she delivered to the terrorist guarding the kitchen entrance. "Nobody messes with my mom," she shouted, using her skateboard as a shield against the gunman's wild shots. Lisa felt a surge of pride and terror in equal measure. "Chloe, get out of here!" "Not happening," Chloe replied, spinning her skateboard to deflect another shot. The wheels caught the barrel of the rifle and twisted it out of the terrorist's hands. Zektar watched this display with the expression of someone witnessing a miracle. "Your offspring fights with no fear." "She gets that from her father," Lisa said, grabbing a chair and hurling it at another gunman. The lead terrorist was getting frustrated. His carefully planned operation was falling apart because of a mechanic with a fire extinguisher and a teenager with a skateboard. "Just shoot them all." That's when Amy's remote assistance arrived. Every traffic light within 6 blocks started flashing red. Car alarms began blaring. Security cameras turned to focus on the restaurant. And then, most importantly, every sprinkler system in the building activated at once. Water poured from the ceiling, soaking everyone and everything. The terrorists' electronic equipment started sparking and failing. Their night vision goggles fogged up. Their communications crackled with interference. "What is happening?" Zektar asked, though he seemed more fascinated than concerned. "My other daughter," Lisa explained, kicking a rifle away from a stumbling terrorist. "She's good with computers." The combination of water, foam, and chaos was too much for the terror purists. They had trained for a quick strike against a single alien target, not for fighting a coordinated defense that included improvised weapons, athletic teenagers, and electronic warfare. Lisa noticed that the kitchen was full of potential weapons. She grabbed a handful of cooking oil and poured it on the floor near the main entrance. When the next terrorist tried to advance, he slipped and went sliding into a stack of chairs. Chloe had discovered that her skateboard worked even better as a weapon when the floor was wet. She could slide across the slippery surface, using momentum to deliver devastating kicks while staying mobile. Zektar was taking notes. Literally. He had pulled out a small device and was recording the entire fight. "Fascinating tactical improvisation. Your species combines resources in ways our military academies never taught. Can you help instead of studying us?" Lisa called out, wrestling with a terrorist who was trying to reload his weapon. "Of course." Zektar moved with lethal grace, using his forearms to disarm and disable the remaining terrorists without seriously injuring them. Years of combat experience showed as he systematically removed every weapon and restraining device they carried, but he kept glancing at Lisa and Chloe with something that looked like admiration. The fight was over in less than 10 minutes. 5 armed terrorists sat tied up with their own zip ties covered in fire extinguisher foam, soaking wet, and thoroughly humiliated. Lisa leaned against the bar, breathing hard. Chloe was checking her skateboard for damage. "Is everyone okay?" Lisa called out to the other diners who were slowly emerging from under tables. "Police are on the way," someone called back. "And the news crews." Amy's voice came through the restaurant's sound system, which she had apparently hacked as well. "Mom, are you okay?" I sent the security footage to the police and called Dad's old military friends. "They're coming too." Lisa looked around at the destroyed restaurant, the defeated terrorists, and her daughter standing proudly with her skateboard. Then she looked at Zektar, who was still taking notes. "So," she said to the alien commander, "how do you think the first date is going?" Zektar stopped recording and stared at her. Then, for the first time since she had met him, he smiled. It was a terrifying expression on a face designed for war, but somehow it was also the most genuine thing she had seen all evening. "Lisa Martinez," he said formally, "I believe I am beginning to understand why the Galactic Council considers your species to be unpredictable. Is that good or bad?" "It is," he said, looking at the chaos around them. "Absolutely fascinating." Outside, sirens were approaching. Amy's voice came through the speakers again. "Mom, you're about to be very famous. The news drones are already here, and someone uploaded the security footage. You're trending on 6 different social media platforms." Lisa groaned. "I just wanted a quiet dinner." "Nothing about humans is quiet," Zektar observed. "It is one of your most remarkable qualities." Chloe wiped water and foam from her face. "Mom, can we keep him? I like him." Lisa looked at the alien warrior who had just helped her fight off terrorists on their first date. He was soaking wet, covered in marinara sauce and fire extinguisher foam, and still taking notes like this was the most interesting thing that had ever happened to him. Maybe it was. The aftermath of the restaurant fight was unlike anything Zektar had experienced in 20 years of military service. Human emergency responders arrived in waves: police, paramedics, fire department, and news crews. Each group seemed to operate independently while somehow working together. Lisa sat on a chair that Amy had jury-rigged from restaurant furniture and her own equipment. Her older daughter had arrived with a toolkit that looked like it could repair a spaceship, and she was currently fixing the damaged sprinkler system while giving statements to 3 different reporters. The key to urban warfare, Amy explained to a news camera, is controlling information flow and environmental systems. Classic isometric tactics, really. She's 16, Lisa told Zektar, who was watching Amy with the expression of someone witnessing a tactical genius at work. Chloe was demonstrating her skateboard techniques to a group of police officers who had never seen anyone use a board as both transportation and weapon. See, the wheels create an unstable surface for opponents while giving you enhanced mobility. It's all about physics and timing. And she's 14, Lisa added. Zektar was quiet for a long moment, watching both girls. On Valoria, warriors of their age would still be in basic training. Your offspring are already battlefield commanders. They're not warriors, Lisa protested. They're kids. Normal kids, Lisa, Zektar said gently. I have conquered star systems with soldiers who showed less tactical creativity than your daughters displayed tonight. A police detective approached them, looking tired and confused. Ms. Martinez, we need to understand what happened here. The terrorist's story doesn't match the evidence. What's their story? Lisa asked. They claim they came here to arrest a dangerous alien spy who was meeting with human collaborators. They say you attacked them without provocation. Lisa looked at the detective like he had grown a second head. They burst into a restaurant with military weapons and started making demands. Of course I attacked them. Most people would have hidden under tables. Most people weren't Air Force mechanics, Lisa replied. You see a problem, you fix it. You see a threat, you neutralize it. Zektar leaned forward. Detective, may I explain something about human tactical psychology? The detective looked at the 7-foot alien in the soaking wet military uniform. Sure, why not? This night can't get any weirder. Humans are the only species in the galactic community that treats combat as a creative exercise, Zektar said. Most military doctrines rely on superior firepower, technology, or numbers. Humans use whatever is available and adapt in real time. He gestured toward the restaurant. Lisa transformed a commercial dining establishment into a defensive position, using only items intended for food service. Amy coordinated electronic warfare from a remote location using civilian infrastructure. Chloe employed personal transportation equipment as weapons. These are not standard military tactics because no military academy would think to teach them. So you're saying this is normal human behavior? The detective asked. No, Zektar said. I am saying this is extraordinary human behavior. But your species seems to produce extraordinary individuals as a matter of routine. Amy approached them, carrying her modified tablet and looking pleased with herself. I've been analyzing the terrorists' equipment and communications. They're not just random anti-alien fanatics. Now, what do you mean? Lisa asked. Their gear is too good, too coordinated. Someone funded this operation. Someone with access to military-grade weapons and intelligence about Valorian diplomatic schedules. Amy showed them data on her screen. I traced their communication protocols. They were getting real-time updates from an outside source. Zektar stood up sharply. Show me. Amy handed him the tablet. His 4 hands moved across the interface with surprising delicacy as he reviewed her analysis. This encryption pattern, I have seen this before. These are not human terrorists. What? Lisa felt a chill that had nothing to do with the restaurant's broken air conditioning. The Terra purists are being funded and directed by the Krillian hegemony, Zektar said grimly. They want to sabotage human-Valorian relations before our alliance can strengthen. The detective looked like he needed a drink. Alien terrorists funding human terrorists to attack other aliens on Earth? Politics is complicated in space, Amy said helpfully. Chloe rolled over on her skateboard. So basically some aliens are paying stupid humans to attack nice aliens? An oversimplification, but accurate, Zektar confirmed. That's really dumb, Chloe announced. Most military strategies are, when examined objectively, Zektar agreed. Lisa felt the situation spiraling beyond anything she could understand. Okay, let me get this straight. Our first date was crashed by alien-funded terrorists and my daughters just helped uncover an interstellar conspiracy. Correct, Zektar said. And this is normal for you? Actually, no. Most of my dates are much more boring. Usually they involve formal military reviews and discussion of strategic alliances. You date for military purposes? Lisa asked. Zektar looked embarrassed. Valorian culture does not separate personal and professional relationships the way humans do. All social interactions are considered potential alliance opportunities. That's the most depressing thing I've ever heard, Chloe said. Amy looked up from her tablet. Mom, we're about to have more company. I'm reading incoming aircraft military configuration. Ours or theirs? Lisa asked. Both. Looks like Earth Defense Force and Valorian fleet vessels. Also news helicopters, social media drones, and what appears to be an ice cream truck. Ice cream truck? Mr. Peterson from down the street. He says if we're going to be on the news, we should look approachable. Lisa buried her face in her hands. This is insane. This is Tuesday night in my family, Chloe said cheerfully. Zektar was accessing his own communication device. I must report to my superiors. This incident will require immediate investigation. Are you in trouble? Lisa asked. Unknown. Valorian military regulations do not cover dating protocols when terrorist attacks occur during cultural exchange activities. There's a regulation for everything except the important stuff, Amy observed. A universal truth, Zektar agreed. The restaurant owner, Tony, approached their group looking shell-shocked. Ms. Martinez, I don't suppose your insurance covers alien terrorist attacks. Probably not, Lisa admitted. But I'll help you rebuild. It's the least I can do. Actually, Amy interjected, I've been thinking about that. The structural damage is mostly cosmetic. The real problems are water damage and electronic systems. I could redesign the whole restaurant with smart systems, better security, alien-accessible furniture. Amy, no, Lisa said firmly. Amy, yes, Tony said. Business has been slow since the recession. Being the restaurant where humans fought off aliens to protect other aliens, that's tourism gold. Zektar watched this exchange with growing amazement. Your species finds commercial opportunity in crisis situations. It's called making lemonade from lemons, Chloe explained. Your fruit-based beverages have tactical applications. It's a metaphor, Lisa said. Ah, humans use food metaphors for military strategy. Fascinating. Outside, the sound of landing aircraft was getting louder. Through the broken window, Lisa could see military vehicles arriving along with the promised ice cream truck. I should warn you, Zektar said. Valorian debriefing procedures can be extensive. How extensive? Several days of detailed questioning, tactical analysis, and psychological evaluation. Days? Lisa looked at her daughters, who were both listening with obvious interest. Mom, Amy said, I've been thinking. If this is what dating an alien is like, maybe we should consider family counseling first. Or bigger weapons, Chloe added. Zektar looked confused. Are you concerned about future terrorist attacks during social activities? No, Lisa said, watching her daughters plot something with their eyes. I'm concerned about what my daughters might do next time. Will there be a next time? Zektar asked. Lisa looked at the alien warrior who had fought beside her family, taken notes on their tactics, and seemed genuinely interested in understanding human behavior. Despite everything that had happened, she realized she wanted to see him again. Ask me after the debriefing, she said. I will, Zektar promised, and Lisa got the feeling he meant it. 3 weeks after the restaurant incident, Lisa Martinez discovered that being famous was exhausting. The security footage from Tony's had been viewed over 50 million times across 17 different planetary networks. Amy's tactical analysis had been translated into 12 alien languages. Chloe's skateboard combat techniques had spawned a new martial arts movement called urban flow fighting. Lisa just wanted her normal life back. Mom, you have another interview request, Amy called from her computer setup, which had grown to fill half the living room. This one's from the Arctruan Science Council. They want to study our family dynamics. No, Lisa said firmly, eating breakfast while reviewing job applications. Her old mechanic shop had been closed for security reasons after the 15th alien delegation showed up asking for tours. How about the Tellurian Empire? They're offering to pay us to demonstrate human problem-solving techniques. No, the Valorian War College wants to make you an honorary instructor. Definitely. No. Chloe skateboarded into the kitchen, which was her preferred method of transportation since becoming galactically famous. Any word from Zektar? That was the question Lisa had been avoiding. Commander Zektar had been recalled to the Valorian homeworld immediately after the incident for what his superiors called irregular conduct during diplomatic operations. The charges included excessive collaboration with local forces, failure to maintain proper military protocols, and conduct unbecoming an officer during first contact procedures. Basically, he was in trouble for laughing while Chloe used his ceremonial battle cape to tie up terrorists. Nothing yet, Lisa said. Amy looked up from her computer. Actually, that's not entirely true. I've been monitoring Valorian communication channels. Amy, that's probably illegal. It's definitely illegal, Amy admitted cheerfully, but I found something interesting. Zektar isn't being court-martialed. He's being promoted. What? Lisa nearly choked on her coffee. The Valorian High Command has been studying the restaurant incident for weeks. They're calling it a perfect example of adaptive alliance warfare. Zektar's willingness to integrate with human tactics is being held up as a model for future cooperation. Chloe stopped practicing her kickflips. So he's not in trouble? Nope. He's being given command of the new Human Valorian Joint Operations Division, which means he's coming back to Earth. When? Lisa asked, trying to sound casual. Amy grinned. His transport arrives this afternoon. Lisa spent the next 6 hours in a state of nervous energy that her daughters found highly entertaining. She cleaned the house twice, changed clothes 3 times, and reorganized her toolbox alphabetically. Mom, you're acting weird, Chloe observed. I'm not acting weird. I'm being prepared. For what? Another terrorist attack? For anything, Lisa said, checking the contents of her purse for the 4th time. With Zektar, you never know what might happen. Amy was tracking incoming spacecraft on her computer. He's landing at the military base. Should be here in about an hour. How do you know he's coming here? Because he requested our address from Earth Command. Also, he sent flowers. He sent what? The doorbell rang before Amy could answer. Lisa opened the front door to find a delivery man holding an arrangement that looked like it had been designed by someone who had never seen Earth flowers before. The blooms were beautiful but geometric, arranged in perfect mathematical patterns with crystalline structures that definitely weren't plant matter. The card read, "For Lisa. Thank you for showing me what tactical creativity looks like. Zektar." Those are Valorian war flowers, Amy said, reading over her mother's shoulder. They're given to honor battle companions. He gave me war flowers? It's romantic in a military sort of way, Chloe said. An hour later, a hover vehicle landed in their front yard. Zektar emerged wearing a new uniform with more decorations than before. He also looked nervous, which was strange to see on someone who regularly conquered star systems. Lisa opened the door before he could knock. Hi, he replied, then seemed to remember his formal training. Lisa Martinez, I request permission to enter your domicile for social interaction purposes. That's the worst pickup line I've ever heard, Chloe said from behind Lisa. It is not a pickup line, Zektar said seriously. It is proper Valorian protocol for entering private residences. Just come in, Lisa said, stepping aside. Zektar had to duck through the doorway, but he managed it more gracefully than before. He looked around the living room with obvious interest, taking in Amy's computer setup and Chloe's skateboard collection. Your home is efficient, he said. Thanks, I think. Amy stood up from her computer. Congratulations on the promotion, Commander. I read about your new assignment. Thank you. The Human Valorian Joint Operations Division is an experimental unit. We will be studying cooperative tactics between our species. Basically, you're going to learn how to fight like humans, Chloe translated. Among other things, yes. Lisa gestured toward the couch. Would you like to sit down? Can I get you something to drink? That would be pleasant. Zektar sat carefully and the furniture held. I have missed our conversations. You've been gone for 3 weeks. It felt longer. Valorian social interactions are very predictable. Amy and Chloe exchanged glances. We're going to go work on homework, Amy announced. We don't have homework, Chloe protested. Yes, we do. Come on. Amy dragged her sister upstairs, leaving Lisa and Zektar alone. "So," Lisa said, settling into her favorite chair. "How was the court-martial that wasn't a court-martial?" "Confusing," Zektar admitted. The High Command spent considerable time analyzing the restaurant incident. They concluded that human tactical flexibility could revolutionize Valorian military doctrine. "And what do you think?" "I think," Zektar said slowly, "that you and your daughters accomplished in 10 minutes what my best soldiers could not have done in an hour. Not because of superior weapons or training, but because you thought differently. We were just protecting ourselves. No, you were doing more than that. You were turning chaos into opportunity. When Amy's drone crashed, most people would have seen it as a disaster. You turned it into a distraction. When the terrorists attacked, you could have fled. Instead, you turned a restaurant into a fortress using kitchen equipment and teamwork." Lisa felt herself blushing. "You make it sound more impressive than it was. Perhaps you do not understand how impressive it was. I have studied human military history extensively since returning to Valoria. Your species has a pattern of winning conflicts through unconventional thinking. The restaurant incident was not an anomaly. It was characteristic." From upstairs came the sound of Amy and Chloe arguing about something involving electronics and physics, normal family noise that Lisa had learned to tune out. "Lisa," Zektar said, "I have a confession to make." "What kind of confession?" "I requested assignment to the Joint Operations Division specifically to return to Earth. My superiors believe it was for professional reasons." "And it wasn't?" Zektar looked down at his four hands. "I have been thinking about our date. The parts before the terrorist attack. You asked me about fun, about things I enjoy. I had never considered those questions before. And I believe I would like to explore those concepts with you, if you are willing." Lisa studied his face, trying to read expressions that belonged to an entirely different species. "Zektar, are you asking me for a second date?" "I am requesting permission to conduct additional social interaction experiments," he said formally. Then he seemed to catch himself. "Yes, I'm asking for a second date," Lisa smiled. "Where would you like to go?" "Somewhere quiet. Somewhere without terrorists. That might be harder than you think. Amy's been tracking anti-alien groups, and apparently we're on several watch lists now." "Then perhaps," Zektar said, "we should plan accordingly." "What do you mean?" "Your daughters have demonstrated remarkable tactical abilities. Perhaps they should join us," Lisa blinked. "You want to take my kids on our second date?" "I want to ensure adequate security for our social interaction experiment," Zektar said. "Also, I am curious to observe more human family dynamics." From upstairs, Amy's voice carried clearly. "Mom, if you're going to date an alien warrior, we should definitely be involved in the planning process." "For security reasons," Chloe added. Lisa looked at Zektar, who was trying not to smile. "I think they like you. I am honored by their approval. Also somewhat terrified." "Good," Lisa said. "That means you're paying attention." "So," Zektar asked, "will you accept my request for a second social interaction experiment?" Lisa thought about her normal, quiet life that had completely disappeared 3 weeks ago. She thought about the complications of dating someone from another species who was probably going to attract more trouble. She thought about her daughters, who were clearly planning to insert themselves into any future relationship whether she wanted them to or not. "Yes," she said, "but this time we're making reservations somewhere with better security." "Agreed. And perhaps we should inform Amy and Chloe of our plans in advance." "Definitely," Lisa said. "With this family, it's better to have everyone on the same team from the start." Zektar smiled, and Lisa realized she was looking forward to whatever chaos might come next. 6 months later, Lisa Martinez stood in her backyard wearing a wedding dress that had been designed to accommodate both human and Valorian wedding traditions. The ceremony was being broadcast live to 47 different planetary systems, which was not something she had ever imagined planning for. "Mom, your microphone is picking up interference from the Arcturian delegation's translation equipment," Amy called out from her position at the Technology Coordination Station. Her daughter had grown 6 inches and gained a reputation as the most sought-after human tech consultant in 3-star systems. "Can you fix it?" Lisa asked, adjusting the ceremonial flowers that Zektar's family had sent. They were beautiful, but they hummed softly and occasionally glowed. "Already did. I've also isolated the communication channels so the Tellurian Empire's representatives can't hack into the wedding video again." Chloe skateboarded past in her bridesmaid dress, which she had modified to allow for full mobility. The Valorian Honor Guard is here, and they want to know if they should perform the traditional war dance before or after the vows. After, Lisa decided. I don't want to be distracted by choreographed violence during the important parts. Kate, her friend who had started this whole adventure, rushed over looking frazzled. Lisa, the caterer is having problems with the Krillian dietary restrictions. The ice sculpture is melting because of the heat from the plasma torches, and someone needs to explain to the Earth Defense Force why there are 12 alien warships in orbit for a wedding. The warships are traditional, Lisa said calmly. In Valorian culture, important ceremonies require a show of military strength to ward off enemies. And the ice sculpture? Let it melt. Amy can probably turn the water into something useful. Kate stared at her friend, who had somehow adapted to planning an interspecies wedding with the same practical approach she used for everything else. You're scary calm about this. Kate, 6 months ago, Zektar and I were attacked by terrorists on our first date. Today, we're getting married in front of representatives from 12 different civilizations, while my daughters coordinate security. Comparatively speaking, this is peaceful. Zektar appeared at her side, moving with the silent grace that had first intimidated her, and now felt comforting. He wore his full dress uniform, which included enough decorations to stop small arms fire, and looked nervous. Lisa, the Valorian High Command has arrived. They wish to present you with honorary military rank before the ceremony. What rank? Strategic Operations Advisor with full battlefield authority. Lisa blinked. They want to give me a military commission? You did help develop the tactical innovations that are now taught at the War College, Zektar pointed out. The Martinez maneuvers are considered required study for all officers. I used a fire extinguisher and kitchen equipment. You used available resources to achieve tactical superiority against numerically superior forces using psychologically disruptive techniques, Zektar corrected. It is now standard doctrine. From across the yard, Amy waved to get their attention. Mom, we have a situation. Long-range sensors are detecting incoming ships that aren't on the guest list. Lisa felt the familiar tension that came with her daughter's announcements. Whose ships? Krillian hegemony. 12 vessels combat configuration. On our wedding day? Lisa looked at Zektar, who was already reaching for his communication device. Typical Krillian tactics, he said grimly. Disrupt diplomatic ceremonies to prevent alliance strengthening. Chloe rolled over on her skateboard. So basically alien jerks are trying to crash your wedding? An accurate assessment, Zektar confirmed. Lisa felt something shift inside her, the same feeling she had experienced in the restaurant. Someone was threatening her family on what was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. That was unacceptable. Amy, she called out, what kind of defensive systems do we have? Well, there's the standard wedding security, plus the Valorian Honor Guard, plus Earth Defense Force units, plus whatever improvised systems I can put together from the catering equipment and decorative technology. Chloe, how many of your martial arts friends came to the wedding? About 50, plus the skateboard demonstration team, plus the kids from school who wanted to see aliens. Lisa looked around her backyard, which contained wedding guests from multiple species, human teenagers with various unusual skills, alien honor guards, and enough decorative technology to stock a small research facility. Zektar, she said. How long until the Krillian ships arrive? Approximately 15 minutes. Perfect. That gives us time to get married first. Everyone stared at her. Kate looked like she was about to faint. Lisa, maybe we should postpone. No, Lisa said firmly. I am not letting alien bullies ruin my wedding day. We're going to have this ceremony, and then we're going to deal with the problem, in that order. The wedding officiant, a nervous Earth diplomat who had spent weeks learning both human and Valorian marriage customs, cleared his throat. Ms. Martinez, given the circumstances, perhaps we could perform an abbreviated ceremony? The important parts only, Lisa agreed. We can do the full version later when we're not under threat of invasion. Amy was typing frantically on her tablet. I'm coordinating with the orbital defense platforms and linking our local systems into the planetary defense grid. If we're going to fight aliens at your wedding, we might as well do it properly. Chloe was organizing the teenage guests into what looked suspiciously like a military formation. Mom, should we move the ceremony inside? No, Lisa said, taking Zektar's primary hand. We're doing this outside under the sky with all our friends and family present, the way it was planned. Even if we're attacked during the vows? Zektar asked. Especially if we're attacked during the vows. These are our people, this is our home, and nobody gets to tell us when and where we can get married. The officiant opened his book with shaking hands. Very well. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to witness the union of Lisa Martinez and Commander Zektar in the bonds of matrimony. As he spoke, Amy's fingers flew across her tablet, coordinating defensive systems. Chloe and her friends spread out across the yard, turning wedding decorations into improvised defensive positions. The alien guests began activating personal protective equipment. Do you, Lisa Martinez, take Zektar to be your husband, to stand with him in battle and in peace, to share your tactical expertise and creative problem-solving abilities, for better or worse in this world and across the stars? I do, Lisa said, meaning every word. Do you, Commander Zektar, take Lisa Martinez to be your wife, to honor her courage and learn from her unconventional wisdom, to protect her family as your own, and to face whatever chaos the universe might throw at you together? I do, Zektar said, squeezing her hand with all four of his. Then by the power vested in me by Earth Command and the Valorian High Council, I pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the— Incoming! Amy shouted. The Krillian ships had arrived early, dropping out of hyperspace directly above the wedding ceremony. But instead of finding a defenseless gathering of civilians, they discovered something unprecedented. A fully coordinated defense network operated by humans who had turned wedding planning into military logistics. Lisa kissed her new husband while plasma fire lit up the sky above them. The Valorian Honor Guard engaged with precision tactics while human teenagers used party supplies as improvised weapons. Amy coordinated orbital strikes using wedding communications equipment. Chloe led a charge of skateboarding martial artists who somehow managed to disable a landed Krillian shuttle, using nothing but momentum and determination. The battle lasted exactly 7 minutes. When it was over, the Krillian forces had retreated. The wedding cake was only slightly damaged, and Lisa Martinez was married to an alien warrior while standing in a yard full of cheering humans and aliens. Well, Kate said, looking around at the victorious chaos, that's definitely the most interesting wedding I've ever been to. Lisa hugged her new husband, her daughters, and her friends in that order. She had started this adventure looking for a quiet dinner date and ended up with an interstellar marriage that had just survived its first battle. So, she said to Zektar, as the victory celebrations began around them, what do you want to do for our honeymoon? Something peaceful, he said hopefully. Amy overheard and looked up from her tablet, where she was already fielding requests for tactical consulting from 6 different planetary governments. Mom, the Dimensional Research Council wants to hire us to explore the quantum realms. Apparently they think our family might be the key to understanding interdimensional physics. Amy, no. It would just be a short trip to parallel universes. What could go wrong? Lisa looked at her husband, whose expression suggested he was beginning to understand what he had married into. Zektar, welcome to the family. Thank you, he said. I think. The celebration continued as 3 different news crews documented the first human-alien wedding, to include a successful defense against invasion. In the distance, Earth's orbital defense platforms powered down, and the Valorian Honor Guard began their traditional victory dance. Lisa Martinez had gotten married, helped win a space battle, and gained an extended family that now included most of 2 star systems. It was, she decided, exactly the kind of life she never knew she wanted.